live. All right. Hey, everybody. We are a little bit faster on going with this one, but the crossover after the long break that the CW took is finally over, and we're here to talk about it. So, Mike, go ahead.
Okay, so we leave off a few months after the cliffhanger of Part 3. Our heroes, our paragons, are stuck in the vanishing point, only to then be rescued by Oliver Queen as the Spectre. And from there, they're on a mission to go back to the dawn of time in order to stop the Anti-Monitor from, anti-mattering everything.
Yes.
So I just want to cut right to the chase. First of all, obviously this is all spoilers, but yeah. I think we need to talk about that scene first and foremost.
The cameo scene?
Yes.
The cameo from the most they can't get their crap together character ever, but somehow they can make a scene for it on the CW.
My favorite thing about this is that literally nobody else knew that this was happening. Like, not even the other cast members. Which, how often has that happened?
Yeah, not very. They can't keep this stuff secret on their TV and on their movies, let alone their TV shows that had 5 shows working together, and somehow they kept it secret. I got nothing. For everyone that's not keeping track, that hasn't watched it, we haven't said who the character is. Ezra Miller showed up for 5 minutes.
The best part is it has literally no bearing on the plot, except
it makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense, especially when they bring it up. It could not have made less sense.
But it's just one of those moments that I'm more just astonished that they pulled it off than even the moment itself.
Yeah,
because it is cute that like the Flash gets to meet another version of himself.
Yeah.
But what does that have to do with the plot? Absolutely nothing.
And I do love how I hate websites where it's like there was an amazing cameo on the Flash and you won't believe who it is, and then the cover of the article is Ezra Miller's face.
That's fucking clickbait.
Well, I'm not opening your article. Like, dude, it's right there. Why do I need to read this? All I need to know is Ezra Miller was there. He's obviously not going to be there for too long. You ruined it. It was everyone was like, you won't believe who showed up on the flight. Yeah, I won't. There's a picture of him. You didn't even put a question mark. What are you doing? Oh.
I just want to get that one right out of the way because I'm just amazed that that it happened. But onto more pressing matters. How do we feel about Oliver Queen as the Spectre? Overpowered, or do you feel does this feel justified?
I have a feeling you and me are going to have very different opinions on how this crossover ended. Period. So this is going to be fun.
All right.
I'm going to be perfectly honest with you here. I don't know a whole lot about Spectre. To be perfectly honest, I know that he is a near omnipotent being in comics, but I know jack with a side of squat about him technically, so I'm not going to outright lie and try and say that I know a lot. So I don't know technically what power level he's supposed to sit at with the Anti-Monitor, another near omnipotent being that's just there. But in my opinion, I don't know. They had a Dragon Ball Z scene for a little bit, and then they popped an Earth out. I don't know exactly what else to say.
There were a lot of Dragon Ball Z moments in these 2 parts specifically.
Yeah,
we'll get to one in the negatives.
Yeah, go ahead.
Personally, from a story perspective, I really like that Oliver Queen gets to be literally something else.
Finally.
I like how a lot of this crossover has revolved around him, from him dying in part 1 to Constantine helping his friends in part 2 and 3. Another negative. Where the hell is Constantine at the end of this?
Nowhere. Where's everybody else that'd be really important? Nowhere.
But anyway,
go ahead.
It's great that they used Crisis, this crossover, to not only clean up their TV universe, but to give Oliver a big send off.
That reminds me of one thing that I have to say before we get out of here. Because I'm going to forget it if we keep talking too long. Because I just realized I've never mentioned this, but I have shown this to you multiple times and never even come to talking about it. The logo for this YouTube channel, the hat I'm wearing, this is based off of the arrowhead from the opening of Arrow.
Oh, really?
I've never said that. But the character that this is from is a fan fiction of me and a buddy, right, who is a character that uses a bow and arrow and is a thing called a faunus. They have an animal trait, and it's a hawk. That's a hawk. Oh, boy. It's a hawk eye inside of an arrowhead. They needed a reference. I literally took the season 4 arrowhead and said that. So that is literally the season 4 arrowhead.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. I can't believe I never mentioned that, but I was just, because, spoiler alert, my favorite moment at the end of this was when Ollie got his chair. And they have his a little different with the lines in it, but you see the arrowhead there, and I'm like, I never told Mike that. We've been posting videos on this YouTube channel. I never said that's Oliver Queen's arrowhead on the logo. But yeah. Weird side tangent. I just had to get out of the way. Yeah, it was very much focused on him. He literally, for 7 years, said he was going to become something else. He just became the same person with different names, and he finally became something else. It was very good. As far as that aspect, man, I'm going to be saying a lot more negatives than I am going to be saying positives, so this is going to be a harsh ride for the most part. But I don't have a whole lot to say. This is really weird where nothing and everything happened in both these episodes.
I can agree with that, because a lot of I'll say this: parts 4 and 5 are where the most like actual story lies. Because let's be honest, as much as I loved watching the first 3 episodes, at least a good 75% of that was like fan service.
Yeah, and that's going to bleed into my negative get to them, because anyway, I'm not going to try and poo it too much because that's going to come in hard later on. But one positive, I will say, did they, for 4 and 5, get better cameras? Because it seemed like the visual and audio quality skyrocketed.
That's a good question.
Especially in and I don't know if it was just a type of visual overlay or stuff they were doing. The moments where Oliver is talking and they're having the moments where they're in the Speed Force, that looked like a movie.
Yeah, that might have just been like a specific stylistic choice, like having all like the memories shot in this like cinematic style.
Yeah, it was very different. I was just like, are you guys finally hitting your budget? Or are you scared you're going to spend it? Or like, what's going on? But yeah, there's that.
Thinking back on that, I really like those Speed Force scenes a lot.
Oh, yeah. I like the idea of them a lot. I felt that they could have been. It's hard to tie Ollie into all the different scenes and then not. How do I want to say that? and make them seem like they're ultra important, but you have to have them tied to a moment.
Yeah.
And like then you have to have a person come and get them from that moment to tell them there, and then it's not Ollie every time. So there's a lot of moving parts. Let's just put it that way. No, yeah, it was good. It was another one of the he was important really here. He was really important here. He was really important here. Yeah, they like we said, it was a lot of Ollie's really important. You need to understand that Ollie is really important. And that was good. I thought it was really weird that we literally didn't see him at all in the 5th episode.
Yeah, not even like a kind of sort of Force ghost. That would have been cheesy as hell, but
yeah, and I was expecting some like he's watching from a distance still as the Spectre type of thing, and you'll just never see him again. Possibly my biggest positive, and the moment I got most excited, it's really stupid, but John and Lila got Sarah back.
Yeah.
I can't explain how happy that made me. It's the stupidest little thing, but I was so happy.
No, that I think that's good just because those two needed a happy ending, and to have like a complete family sitting on the couch is just it was just precious.
It was great. It was awesome. I was just like, who? I was like, okay, I'm glad somebody thought of that. And it was just like, apparently timelines don't even matter anymore. Just boom, and then shoot that right over. What are some other major positives that I want to talk about? One thing I will say is that they've literally turned Legends of Tomorrow into Deadpool, where they're just like, and almost everyone's gotten to the point of openly admitting that these crossovers just have to happen. Mm-hmm. Like Jefferson just saying, how often does the world go to shit? And then no one says anything. He's like, oh. And then Kate goes, don't worry, I was a new kid last year. And that was cool. The whole Hall of Justice memorial thing. For Ollie with
everything about great. That. Everything about the Hall of Justice, I loved.
Yeah, the fact that they actually had a monument.
Even Gleek.
Had no clue who Gleek was. I know. I knew of him. I had no clue his name was Gleek.
But if you know the music, you know exactly what they're referencing.
Oh yeah, just like, and this is the most. What I want to say, like, you're pretty damn sure you're making sequels moment to where you combined all the Earths. Somehow now was the important time when they finally don't have Arrow anymore, where they're like, now is when everyone needs to be in the same kettle. You have the Hall of Justice, you have the table, and you're like, crap's gonna keep going bad. We're establishing crap's going to keep going bad, and we're getting more shows, so we're obviously not stopping the train anytime soon. We hope everything keeps going well, because Arrow started 7 years ago. That's nuts.
And look how far we've gotten. We've gone from season 1 of Arrow, which was like dark and gritty and grounded, to it's basically the Silver Age.
Mm-hmm. You have those moments where it's still like that, obviously, but yeah. It's gonna get a lot more Silver Age. Good Lord, I saw that clip where they showed Stargirl. Oh boy, that is as old at school as you could get. That's gonna be something altogether. Good Lord. Oh man.
I got one more positive that may also smoothly transition into negatives.
Okay.
In part 5, we see Bebo attacking the city.
You do. Yeah.
It you can't have like a crossover in the Legends episode without Bebo.
Without Bebo, that was something different. And you had Rory's freaking book signing. That made me think of something else that I just totally forgot, but that's in negatives. Do you have any more big positives?
Other than just like the fight itself in the dawn of time, just overall, I liked a lot of that. The end of that episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looked really good.
Yeah. I think my biggest negative that we can use to transition to that is the Anti-Monitor coming back in part 5 is basically the equivalent of Cell coming back after Goku sacrificed himself.
Yeah, this is going to bleed into my biggest round of negatives here. In my opinion, this is the worst crossover they've done by a country mile.
Okay.
Because to me, this seemed like someone had an idea where they're like, hey, Burt Ward's not busy. I wonder who else isn't busy. And then they came up with a story afterwards. Because going in again, where if we just randomly had an Ezra Miller cameo because he wasn't busy, it literally didn't make any sense. Like, Barry goes, all right, I got to go to the Speed Force. I got to go find Ollie. I just randomly ran into DCEU Flash. Why?
Just because
cameo. Could have like, and then that really started me ticking back, and I'm like, legitimately, absolutely nothing happened in episode 4 outside of Ollie making a new universe while the guys fought for 10 minutes. Literally nothing happened in episode 4. Literally nothing happened in episode 5 other than we're sad. We need to shoot at the monitor and shrink him for a little bit, and then the episode was over.
And that I'll say this: I would have actually been fine if the last episode was. In fact, I'll say this: I would have preferred Legends of Tomorrow being episode 4, and Arrow being episode 5. Not literally those two episodes, but like episode 4 being the crazy battle and all that stuff. Well, episode 5 is more somber. It is sort of reflecting on Oliver's legacy. Everyone can have their sad moments. And then at the end, Hall of Justice and all that.
Yeah. And it's just like, it goes back to, it doesn't feel like this story had this crossover had a through line outside of we're doing justice to Oliver. It kind of went from crazy stuff like episode, crazy cliffhanger, episode, crazy cliffhanger, episode, crazy cliffhanger, and then they had to have 5 episodes, so they dragged it out for 5 episodes. Because like I said, literally nothing happens in the last 2 episodes outside of the end of them. And they just, man, I'm trying not to be too negative, but it's like, and it felt like they did shock stuff for shock stuff. Like, there was no point in Lex replacing Superman outside of him being a dick for 10 minutes in the last 2 episodes. And them helping set up something for Supergirl. He literally had to be there so that he was a part of the world reforming.
Pretty much.
And then speaking of the world reforming, to me, it literally felt like they took 5 episodes of a crossover to say, this would be a lot easier if all of our toys were in one chest.
To be fair, that was kind of the meta purpose of the original comics crossover too.
I get that, But we literally got nothing out of this outside of that. When, to be fair, in comics, you're doing that because you have to have all these people writing at different points. When in the shows, from the start, they could have just went, Jefferson's on our Earth. The only person we got to carry over is Kara. That's it. She was literally the one outside of standing factor because they're not bringing in Titans. They're not bringing in Doom Control. Stargirl is still on a different Earth now, but she's going to be a show that's on the CW, so they have another one that they might possibly have to tangle in somehow later. I felt like this was really not well planned outside of Cameo Fest. At least to me. And I don't know if that's because my excitement died because they took like 4 weeks off.
That could have played a factor because someone on my Facebook said that this event would have been better if it was longer and like a summer miniseries as opposed to the way they paced it out, like with 3 episodes interrupted by the winter break.
Mm-hmm. Be really long. Okay.
And I kind of agree with that. I think this should have been bigger and more. This should have been bigger and grander, and had its own room to breathe, rather than kind of shoved in between the seasons. If that makes any sense.
Oh, I get that.
Like I know the other crossovers have done that, and story-wise, I think Crisis on Earth X is the best one they've done.
Yep, I would agree.
So I understand the precedence for doing it the way they did. I just think you could have made this like 10 times better if we had like more time in this for the story.
And that's one thing that, because of how they did it, makes less sense to me now. They went out of their way in all these shows. I'm not caught up on Supergirl, and I don't watch Black Lightning. Not because I don't want to, because I legitimately
there's too many. I get that.
To my knowledge, all the problems got solved before this crossover started. Pretty much. Everybody had their villain that they were dealing with at the time dealt with. Outside of Legends, because obviously Legends didn't start yet. Arrow was literally just
building up
get
to
ready for Crisis. Flash, blood work got taken care of. I believe Supergirl was all good, and I don't know about Black Lightning.
Black Lightning was doing its own thing until a tie-in episode that led into his appearance in Crisis, where they had like the red skies and all that.
Okay, because I was gonna say if that's a little bit better, but it's like Flash, in my opinion, was skyrocketing towards making sure Bloodworks was done before this crossover happened, and I'm like, okay, I guess they're just gonna jump right back and then carry off where they left over. They didn't need to rush Bloodworks at all because they literally just went, we hit the reset switch anyway.
I disagree because I've gotten to the point with Flash villains that, like, once we reach the halfway point of the season, they start waning in quality. So I'm personally glad that Bloodwork ended before the crossover.
It is true. Well, that is true, and to me, the part of it is, and I try to explain this to people so much, and no one ever listens to me because they just tell me that I'm coming up with excuses. It's a reason they don't have Wally on the show anymore. It's a reason why they just have Barry. When you have a person who has the power set of the Flash, it becomes incredibly difficult to come up with someone that can give them issues for 22 episodes without them being caught. Because he's the Flash.
Yeah, he's one of the most powerful superheroes in comics, period.
Yeah, it's why shows like if you had Batwoman works, why Arrow works. Arrow, you can have technology be futzed with. The Flash, you have to come up with excuses why he doesn't take 5 minutes to scan the whole city and isn't able to find someone somehow. In each episode, you have to come up with we have to figure out how to neutralize their power. When technically, I can run at the speed of light and put metacuffs on them. Let's work on that. It's really hard to do. And that's why they're like, why don't they have Jesse Quick? Why don't they have Wally anymore? Who is going to give them problems when you have 3 people that can run at the speed of light? Who?
This is why I always fight with people who say characters like Superman and Flash are easy or boring to write. No, they are actually incredibly difficult because they're so powerful. Like you have to treat them like characters first, superheroes second.
And they come off as boring when they're written badly because you just have, haha, I dealt with the problem, away. And that's why a lot of people don't like them, because they're called being they're accused of, and they are, it's not wrong, they're overpowered. But think of when Superman was made and why he was in that time period. You needed something like that. You did.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have to come up with reasons for why people don't do stuff. And we could be a lot worse than the Flash and Superman. That's why those characters aren't in those shows. Other ones, because it would make it so much worse. Good God.
Speaking of negatives, I just realized one missed opportunity. Did you ever see articles floating around about a scene in Crisis featuring all 3 Supermen?
Meaning?
Both
of them.
Hecklin, Routh, and Welling all in the same scene.
No, I did not.
Okay,
but that would have been cool.
That would have been cool. Never happened.
That would have been very cool. Yeah. That would have been cool. You know who I just thought of was not in this? Lauren Lester.
Man, that would have been...
They got Conroy. How did they not get him?
I'm trying to think of who he could play in this universe. It would have been cool to see him play kind of an older Dick Grayson.
An older Dick Grayson, or you want to know who he could have been? He could have been Alfred. At the Conroy Batman Manor, he could have been Alfred. Or you could have just seen him in a picture that happens to have a really cool looking blue bird on the corner of it. Anything. Just saying. But, and then, I take that back. I was going to say Clancy Brown wasn't in it, because Clancy Brown's actually a character in The Flash, so we can't do that. Yeah, man, I don't want to go on draw on negatives, because a lot of it is just going to be me where they could have either made this longer and kept it at the same time, or they could have chopped up some of the fat, focused on only needing pop-off cameos when you need them, and only having shock factor when you need it. In my opinion. Your Crisis in Earth X was amazing because it was short, concise, and did only what it needed to. In my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree. And what made Crisis on Earth X that much stronger was that it was mostly building off of one show. it was building mostly
Go ahead,
off
sorry.
the Flash's the Flash's storyline with Barry and Iris getting married.
Yeah.
That was a nice character based jumping off point.
Yep.
And Christ on Infinite Earths could have done like it could have been just as strong with the whole Ollie's come to the end of his rope, while at the same time the universe is ending.
Yeah, and it started out strong. I will admit that. To set up initial episodes where all of a sudden just everyone's like, we thought we were prepared, we're not. It's here, we're getting zapped away, and it's go time. That was really good. And it's just like, and then all the worlds were gone, and then the next episode, don't worry, we've got one good one. And then, no, we've got all of them that are different now. And was I high, or did I see the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie for a minute?
In my head canon, I assumed that was the HBO series.
Okay,
but
could
no,
be.
But no, I think it actually is the Ryan Reynolds movie.
Okay, because I was like, no, how are they even? Why would they even? And then it's like, then we got to see Doom Patrol and all that. You got to see Stargirl, all that stuff. Like, that was other goods. It was just, man, it was just all planning. I'll just leave it at that. It was all planning. I like that they did this. The next time they do one, because good God, if they established, hey, we're going to keep doing crossovers, that it goes into plan. If a situation where a cameo could work, do that. Not just do for people who are wrestling nerds out there, a spot fest there. But yeah, it was cool. Ollie got his proper send-off like he did. He's got a proper memorial. I really like the what I want to say, Viking funeral type of thing where you actually have like a floating, not like floating, like an actual like lit fire for him. That was his emblem there. And now he's got an empty seat nice. At the table. That was cool. And that they're actually having that be this is making me wonder how often they're going to have them cross over now. If they're not going to do big events, or they're just going to do a bunch of random, maybe 1 or 2 episode arcs with random people.
I bet they're still going to do big crossovers. Maybe not as often. Maybe like every other year.
Mm-hmm. Maybe, because they set quite the precedent that everybody's their neighbor now. And they have been for a while, according to this world, because Marv was quite excited to see the Flash and Supergirl.
that was actually a very fun cameo. I get more excited by like creator cameos like that and Stan Lee than I do of actor cameos.
Yep, I agree. It was like Sterling in Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
He there was no grandstanding. He was just playing a dude. That was awesome. Man, what did I want to say? Gosh dang it! I had it and it's gone. Gosh dang it! It was something about doing. At first I perceived it as a negative, and then like it made sense, was that they literally had the opposite of the Men in Black mind eraser with Jean.
Oh, yeah.
Just he got sick of going to scenes where he's like, there wasn't even dialogue anymore. He was just like Vulcan mind melding people the second he walked in the door. Okay, explain something to me. Speaking of Jean. I got really mad for about 2 minutes because I thought they were going to do something, and then they went back on it. Why was he, and they had to bring it up enough for Alex to mention something, wearing his costume without the CGI up until he was going to fight, and then they put him in CGI? Were they really that tight on budget where they had to make a comment about him not being in CGI for 2 minutes?
I guess.
I was like, are you guys really going to cheap out and have him just look like John for the rest of the series? I was going to be so pissed. Like, I don't even watch Supergirl that close. He would have he looked so good. But
But I think Alex was just talking about the costume itself, not necessarily that.
Was it that much different?
I think it was slightly upgraded.
It could be, maybe. I don't know. I wasn't paying that. To me, it looked like him, but I guess it looked like an actual suit he was wearing, versus when he's a total CGI sheet when he's normal. So I guess it could look different. Maybe the other one had a bluish tinge. I'm having a really hard time. I feel like I just had a stroke. I can't remember what Martian Manhunter looked like. Hold on. I'm okay. This has got to get looked up. Oh, I suppose it is a little different.
It's a little bit more black in that scene.
Yeah, and the chest piece, if I'm thinking correctly, looks very different. I gotta look to see what it. Oh man, if I can get a clear shot of it from Crisis. Oh no, not the animated one. That one's much better, but still. Man, is he gonna give me a clear shot of him? Probably not, because that was the most recent episode. But I want to say the chess piece was different. I do want to say the chess piece was different. Okay. God, man. Okay, one last real big negative about Lex.
Okay.
This ties into if anyone's ever seen Death Note. The Oscar-worthy Netflix adaptation.
Oh Jesus.
Where things are a little bit more powerful than they need to be when the moment calls for them to be. Not only did he randomly just tear out a sheet and scribble some Sharpie marker to become the Paragon, he then magically had beam hands when the moment called for it.
Yeah, he turned into fucking Goku.
I'm like, why? That is like, you, Lex Luthor, you've established you had a moment with this book to give yourself some extra powers, and you gave yourself a Kamehameha. Why didn't you just give yourself a kryptonite beam? Like, you had the Book of Destiny. Come on. That's where it gets to these moments where my OCD-lated head is like, this character wouldn't do that. He would do that. He would just do it in a different way, but it's whatever, because he would have been able to kill Supergirl and you wouldn't have had the show, and it's art for another time. The other thing I want to talk to you about, did you think it was kind of weird that Cho didn't become Adam at all? Like, did almost nothing for this entire crossover other than run?
Yeah, I wonder if they're holding that off for Legends, and the crossover is just kind of him saying, "Hi, I'm here."
It could be, because how long is the Legends seasons again? Like 13 episodes?
16. 16.
Oh, man. Okay, so I guess that, like, I don't know why, but part of me thought that, like, Ralph was going to be in the crossover, and that was it. Like, when they were talking about how wasn't his decision, Ryan's coming in, that to me in my head immediately clicked, well, Ralph's dying in the crossover, something's happening, and somehow Chow's going to be accidentally put into the Atom suit. But I guess it just wasn't what they were going to do. That was so hard ingrained in my head that when it didn't happen, I went, oh, yeah, you're right. Their show hasn't started yet. Okay.
And you know what? I'm actually okay with. I wish Ryan had more to do in the rest of the crossover, but I don't mind that he didn't become the Atom right away.
Yeah, no, and I think that's fine. I just thought it was really weird that he didn't do a whole lot. I thought they were going to, like, he helped them establish that bomb. Like, he had Science Bros with Ralph for like a good episode, which was good. I just thought with Ray, and I just thought that they would have had him, what I want to say, develop more to like show that he's really something. And then I guess I get the whole He's important. He's important. He's important. He's important. He's important. Good God, he needs to feel that he's important. I just thought that it would have been more than that, but it's still good. They have an entire show worth of legends to do that, which is fine. So it's okay. But yeah. I kind of didn't have any other tangent after that, so if you've got something, go ahead.
Let's see. Final thoughts. Now that we have established that all of the CW shows, except for Stargirl, which is still kind of its own thing.
It's so weird.
It's weird. But anyway, now that these are all in their own, like, in one universe, I'm intrigued by what their future storylines will look like, particularly Black Lightning's, because like up until the crossover, his superheroics have been very local, and now he's coming home to having saved the universe.
Yeah, he's got and it's one of the things that people commonly, because they can't handle themselves, moan about in the Marvel movies.
Oh yeah.
And it's going to become something they moan about here, which I'll understand here, because you have 6 22-episode long TV shows that have world-ending events happen in them weekly. Where was whoever when problems were happening? That's something they're going to have to, like, I understand where it's like, the Flash is here, you have Arrow here, Arrow's not running over to Central City to help Barry. Barry, when it gets bad enough, might come help Ollie. Makes sense. But now you have Superman, who's getting his own show now, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes like 7 now. You have Supergirl, Superman, Flash, multiple versions of the Flash that are just chilling on opposite ends of the globe because, again, you can't have problems with all of them in the same room.
Mm-hmm.
Martian Manhunter, and they had to send off Malefak, sorry, because, again, you have another Martian here.
Mm-hmm.
You have to deal with the fact that you have multiple nuclear bombs on the hero side now. How many problems are you going to have? You got to get creative. And it's like with the Flash, you burned through 3 speedsters in your first 3 episodes, and people instinctively wanted to hurl when they saw Godspeed show up because they were terrified it was going to turn into another season of, well, they got a speedster that can do anything, so it's just going to be irritating for a whole season. But they didn't. At least not yet. They have the whole weird Godspeed talks in like jacked up Morse code for whatever reason that I never saw them really solve. But that's just not a problem anymore because that Earth doesn't exist. I don't know. That's going to be another thing. It's going to be so weird, these shows going forward, because I swear to God, if they continue like the episodes before the crossover happened yesterday, it's going to be really weird. Like, it's probably a good thing that they did this because they're just cutting off fat that they didn't need, and they can literally say, that didn't happen. History books say that didn't happen. So they can fix their plot holes, whatever have you. It's just now they're going to have to be really careful because, like we said, it's all in the same pot now.
Yeah, so now, not that any of these writers need my advice, but if you want my advice, write the characters as characters first, and just make them compelling.
Yep. Don't come up with storyline and then cram them into it and hope it works, because God, it doesn't. I'm a lowbrow help in a fan fiction for Ruby, for Christ's sake. And I can tell you full force that when you come up with ideas before the story starts, it's really hard to find their place once your story gets going because you change your mind. Mm-hmm. You're a human. Ugh. But yeah, and okay, there's something. How often do you think they're actually going to meet in that hall? Outside of crises?
Probably not often enough.
Did we establish where that thing is, by the way? That's in Central City, right?
I think it's like literally the back of Star Labs.
Or Star Labs.
Or if not there, then it's like
they said it's an abandoned Star Labs like facility that no one knows exists, or like it's off the books or something.
Something like that.
Something like that. I don't remember. Because I'm trying to think of what they said with it on Earth X. They were just in it. That's where they had their meetings. I can't remember where it was, and that's where they just cheered the hell out. Anyway, it'll be weird if they establish that they have a meeting place, and again, reality, actors can't be everywhere. Even though the CW only likes to shoot in the 3 square province area of like Southeast Canada. But yeah. We'll see. It'll be, man, me in my head is trying to correlate what these shows are going to be like now with the crisis being a new Earth and all this stuff, and then like where it's going to go, because I'm thinking like everything that just happened with Kate and her dad and Beth before this about how they literally want to kill her, and like if that's not a thing anymore, or
I feel like for the newer shows, like Batwoman's still going to kind of continue doing its thing. She just has more perspective now that she's been hanging out with, the rest of the superhero community.
Yeah. Did you think it was kind of different? If not, I get that they're literally doing their version of Batman and Superman with her and Kara. That when everyone was watching the news, that she was at Kara's place.
They're friends. They're chilling.
Well, I get that. It's just like they're that close now. It's like before they were like, "I'll see you next time." Handshake, ominous music plays, and then now it's like we're having gal time already. I'm like, that jumped up significantly. Are we? That's what I mean. Like mini crossovers where it's like we're having. Oh man, now I can't think of it. Come on. Wow, I am having a bunch of miniature strokes today. Batman and Superman.
Oh, like World's Finest.
World's Finest, thank you. If they're going to have like a little World's Finest crossover, a just blankety-blank crossover, where they're going to have little miniature events just between like 2 shows.
I'd actually love seeing that like once or twice a year.
Yeah, and they could do that without trying to cram them all together. And they could still do that. It's just that every now and then, if they want to do like a big half thing, they could do this a third of the way through that. And then later on, where it's like, I'm actually going to need someone's help. We're all on the same Earth now. Get out the old cellular telecommunication device, and I'm going to actually call someone because I know I have help that I can call. So it could be fun.
Yeah.
A lot of possibilities, just except Stargirl. Again, that's so weird. God, that's so weird. I can't get over. And like they're gonna go on a small tangent here. They showed Stargirl, and like she already has a supporting team set up. So like we're gonna get Stargirl like a ways into her already being a thing. That's not something they normally do for these TV shows, outside of Black Lightning, obviously, because he was retired, and then whatever, and then that, but that's just weird to me. It's gonna be the first one where it's like we've been a crew for a while, we're good. It's gonna be weird.
I'm thinking the pilot episode is kind of like That'll be the only one kind of setting up the world, but then everything else after that's going to be just the show.
Yeah, kind of like how Batgirl was an established, or Batwoman was an established thing in the previous year's crossover, and then they had a half a season to be like, oh, hey, hi, it's you guys again. Yeah, I'm as good as when I was there, even though I only had like 10 episodes to creep back up to where I was. It's just, it works, but yeah. So that's pretty much it. It was a crossover. You seem like you liked it more than I did. What would you give it out of 5?
Out of 5, I'd give these last 2 parts like probably a 3.5 each. I'd give the entire thing about a 4 out of 5. It's definitely flawed, but the experience of watching it was very satisfying.
Yeah, I get you there. I give it a 3. Like I said, just trimming fat would have made it a 4 strong 5. It would have had more just story and less cameo in it. But yeah, that's our thoughts on that. Last time we closed out, me and Mike, I have no clue what we're going to do as far as we'll keep doing movie reviews now that I'm starting to get a little bit more of my life back together with doing stuff like that because I've been stupid busy. We're going to do an Arrow, like, season recap, feelings, whatever I guess you want to call it. I don't know the exact term of phrase other than recap.
We'll call it an Arrow retrospective.
Arrow retrospective. Like, I wouldn't mind doing that for other shows, but I'm going to be honest, I'm only going to be comfortable doing it with the ones that I've obviously seen all of, so it's going to end up being like Flash. I'm going to try my damnedest to keep up on Supergirl, and for sure Legends of Tomorrow, because that's the ones I'm the most close with, and I have a lot of investment in Stargirl. God, I hope that's good when it comes.
They have the Justice Society. It's got to at least be watchable.
I know. It's like, I saw Stripes there. He was a thing. I need this to be good. But yeah, we'll try and do ending recap stuff a little bit. They might be a little bit harder for the other ones. They might not be as concise as what Arrow's is, because again, Arrow was really short. But we'll figure out stuff. We're still doing movie reviews. It just won't be at this because again, CW could not have reversed their decision harder on we're not just a show or a channel for superheroes, because it's literally just that. But yeah, it was fun getting to recap Arrow stuff again. Just getting to see Colton do an upgraded version of our old intro that became incredibly out of date really fast because it only had Flash and Arrow in it. It was good. I had fun. I'm glad that we decided to do this again. And again, we'll do stuff with this. Like, again, if they do small crossovers.
Yeah, then we'll definitely be back for those.
Yeah, exactly. Well, little events like that, that'd be a lot of fun. And they'd be easy to do. Again, this is easy to do. The editing's not hard, FYI. Yeah, I had fun. Mike, where can they reach you?
Twitter at Captain K42, Letterboxd, Coach K42, and look for me in literally all the movie-related Facebook groups, just at my name.
Literally all of them. That is half of my Facebook notifications, is you talking with people about movies. But you can find me at literally everywhere at OrganoidZero. This channel, I have a Tumblr and an Instagram. That is the worst application on the planet. God, I hate it, but I had to get one because I'm starting to do cosplay stuff now, and on just everywhere there. Thank you guys very much for watching. And like I said, is there a movie coming out before? What is the next slate of movies?
This weekend is Bad Boys for Life. Birds of Prey is February 7th. I think we definitely need to do that one.
You'll do that one. Is that before Arrow?
After.
Episodes of Arrow. That's after?
The last episode of Arrow is the 28th.
It's the 28th. Okay, I was going to see if there was something that's coming up before that. We'll definitely do Birds of Prey. That's for sure. That'll be our next step back on the train of doing movie reviews again. I was just seeing if there's one beforehand. We'll see you guys at the Arrowverse retrospective then. Toodaloo.
Peace.